Ever been to a barber who talks too much? I mean, why can't we just sit in silence, right? So, there I was, seated in the barber's chair, trapped under that cape of no return. My barber, let's call him Chatty Charlie, was armed with a pair of scissors that seemed more like a lethal weapon in his overly enthusiastic hands. This man wasn't just a barber. Oh no, he was a philosopher, a therapist, and a self-proclaimed life coach, all rolled into one. "Nice weather we're having, eh?" he began, a classic conversation starter. But you see, with Chatty Charlie, it's never just about the weather. Before I knew it, we were knee-deep in climate change and the impact of global warming, all while he was trimming my sideburns. Next came the personal questions. "So, you seeing anyone?" he asked casually, as if he were snipping away at my privacy along with my hair. When I dodged the question with a non-committal grunt, he took that as an invitation to share his unsolicited advice on love and relationships. And just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, he started with the career advice. Remember, this is the same guy who's holding a sharp object near my ear. So I had no choice but to nod along as he spun tales of his cousin who made a fortune selling organic hair gel online. The cherry on top, his running commentary on my hair. "It's a bit dry, isn't it?" he said with a tinge of judgment. "You know, avocado is great for the hair." "Thanks, Chatty Charlie, for the grooming tip. I'll make sure to slather some guacamole on my head tonight." As he finally freed me from the cape, I looked at my reflection. My hair was shorter, yes, but I felt like I'd been through an emotional roller coaster. And that's when I decided I'd rather have messy hair than go through another session of barber's therapy. Grocery shopping. Sounds simple, right? Well, not for me. Picture this. You're in a grocery store that's so massive, it makes the Great Wall of China look like a picket fence. I mean, this place had 16 different types of apples. Who even knew there were 16 different types of apples? Anyway, I digress. So there I am, wandering through aisles that seem to stretch on for miles, when I spot what appears to be a salesperson in the distance. I think, great, someone who can guide me through this labyrinth of consumerism. I stride over, tap the salesperson on the shoulder, and start to ask where I can find the pickles. But instead of a helpful response, I'm met with a thud. Turns out, I was talking to a mannequin. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, how on earth could you mistake a mannequin for a person? Well, in my defense, it was a very realistic mannequin. Plus, I was on my 4th lap around the store, so I was a little delirious. But the adventure doesn't end there. As I turn to leave the mannequin, I stumble and accidentally knock into a pyramid of soup cans. I mean, who stacks soup cans in a pyramid in the middle of the aisle? It's like they were asking for a disaster. The cans clatter to the ground, echoing throughout the store, and I'm standing there, frozen like a deer in headlights. Suddenly, I hear the sound of footsteps growing louder. I turn around to see the store's security guard hustling towards me. He's a big guy, looks like he could bench press a small car. He stops in front of me, looks down at the mess of cans, then back at me. I expect him to start yelling, but instead, he just sighs, shakes his head, and says, "Not again, huh?" And that, my friends, is why I am on a first-name basis with the store's security guard. Scene script. Who here likes cooking? Well, let me tell you about my first cooking disaster. A culinary journey that started with the best of intentions, a simple pasta dish, took an unexpected turn down catastrophe lane. It began with the pasta. Boil water, add pasta. How difficult could that be, right? Well, let's just say I managed to burn water. Yes, you heard that right. I burnt water, and I didn't even know that was possible until that fateful day. As the water evaporated, the pasta stuck to the pot, transforming into a charred, unrecognizable blob, a blackened relic of what was supposed to be a delicious dinner. But that was just the beginning of this culinary misadventure. Next came the tomato sauce. Ah, the beautiful, tangy, and sweet symphony of tomatoes, or so I thought. I was so engrossed in salvaging the pasta situation that I completely forgot about the simmering sauce. Before I knew it, the sauce had reduced to a thick paste that more closely resembled volcanic lava than anything edible. At this point, the air was thick with the smell of burnt food, and the smoke alarm decided to join in the fun. It was like a symphony of chaos, the screeching alarm providing a soundtrack to my culinary disaster. And then, the grand finale. The smoke alarm, doing its duty, alerted the local fire department. And there I stood, in my apron, stirring a pot of charred pasta when the fire truck pulled up. The look of disbelief on the firefighter's face when he realized the fire was just my dinner. Well, let's just say that was the cherry on top of this disastrous Sunday. Despite all the chaos, I learned 2 things that day. 1. Cooking is not for everyone, and 2. Fire alarms don't appreciate culinary disasters. Now, whenever I say I'll cook, my family immediately orders pizza. Ever tried impressing someone at the gym? Let me tell you, it doesn't always go as planned. You see, there I was, trying to shed those extra holiday pounds. Clad in my snazzy new gym gear, I spotted this extremely fit individual. I thought to myself, hey, why not show off a little? So I hopped on the treadmill beside them, cranked the speed way up, to appear like a regular Usain Bolt. They glanced over, and for a moment we locked eyes. I smiled, they smiled back. Just when I thought my plan was working, the universe decided to knock me down a peg, literally. I tripped, tumbled, and was promptly thrown off the treadmill, legs flailing like a fish out of water. My pride hurt more than my bruised backside, but I wasn't going to give up that easily. Next up, the yoga class. I thought, how hard could it be? It's just stretching, right? So I decided to try the most complex pose I knew. The scorpion. In my mind, I was a graceful creature, impressing everyone with my balance and flexibility. In reality, however, I was a human pretzel stuck in a knot. The more I tried to untangle myself, the more tangled I became. I was stuck in a pose that would make even a professional contortionist wince. The instructor had to halt the class and help me unravel. There I was, sprawled on the floor, gasping for breath, while the entire class looked on, trying hard not to giggle. The fit individual I was trying to impress, they were in stitches, laughing so hard I thought they'd need medical attention. So the moral of the story? Don't try to impress at the gym. Just focus on not injuring yourself. Remember the chatty barber from the beginning of this video? Well, guess who I ran into at the gym? Yes, you've guessed it. The world is indeed a stage, and the barber, our star performer, was back. Only this time, he was sporting a pair of neon shorts and a sweatband. Now, I don't know if you've ever had your hairstylist recognize you outside of their salon, but I assure you, it's a whole new level of awkward. So there I was, mid-treadmill, when I hear a familiar voice say, "Hey, didn't I give you a haircut last week?" And then, without waiting for a response, he added, "You know, your hair looks different when you're sweating." Well, thank you, Mr. Barber, for that insightful observation. And then, as if the universe was playing some cosmic joke, he hopped onto the treadmill next to mine. You would think that running would deter him from talking, right? Wrong. He started discussing hair care tips for gym goers. Now don't get me wrong, I'm all for a good hair care routine, but not while I'm gasping for breath on a treadmill. And then came the ultimate kicker. Here I was, trying to increase my speed to escape the barber's chatter, when he said, "You know, if you sweat less, your hair would retain its volume better." I mean, who says that? Who goes to the gym to preserve their hair volume? But you know what? I took it in stride, laughed it off, and now I've got a funny story to tell you all. And that's why, my friends, I now cut my own hair, do online grocery shopping, take out only, and work out at home. The end.